Me, little plea from me to you and to some of the people that you're working with. We have members of staff here who are members of staff, all right, and they're not elected. Some of us here are elected. We're kind of fair game. You can film me. You can approach me in the street particularly if I'm wearing my badge. You can ask me a legit question. But there are members of staff here who are just doing a job, and I think some of the filming of them isn't necessarily always very fair. They're doing their job. It's just an observation I make, that we've got people that are just coming here to do a shift and want to go home. I would be really grateful if we could kind of bear that in mind in the conversations that you're having with some of your colleagues, because I think actually if we can cut away some of the perceived antagonism, we can have a better conversation.
Thank you, Councillor Laws, for raising your concerns. We do appreciate that. We're not entirely sure which of the videos it is, so I'll cover everything so that we can all be on the same page and hopefully resolve any discomfort that people within the council are feeling. So I think it's very important to give you some context. We never intended to be filming the door staff or that type of thing. It only came as a last resort after one of the security staff assaulted me in one of the meetings. I was holding up photographs of EV buses on fire to support the speaker who was raising our concerns on just how dangerous these EVs are. It was imperative that we convey just how awful it was. And the security guard was not happy with me holding up this poster for some reason and was tapping me on the shoulder. And when I didn't respond, he then pushed his fingers deep into my neck. Now, I could have handled that situation in many ways. I could have called the police because it was an assault, but I didn't. What I actually did was, as I was having conversations back and forth with Mr. Weavers regarding some rather bad misconduct from one of the councillors, I popped it in an email about what had happened, and then I said, I will leave this with you to deal with as you see fit. I didn't get a response. Then when we come back for another meeting, same security guards there, his searches are getting more aggressive. And the last woman in the queue, he used the scanning device to push her legs apart and the scanner was touching her inner thigh. And she found that incident very distressing. She felt very violated by it and it shouldn't have happened. Now, to be clear, the security guard was not doing it in a sexual way, he was just being brutish with her. And for the record, none of the women that come with us have a knife concealed with the places he was putting that scanner. So after that incident, I wrote to the leader of the council. He replied, although to be fair, it's not really his job to be sorting out the door staff, but I didn't know who else to write to. A formal complaint was then put in and nothing happened. We come back for another meeting and the security guard wants to search me on entrance. I said, no, I do not consent to being searched because of how you treated the last lady. You overstepped the mark. So I just walked past him up the stairs. He got rather cross with that and came charging up the stairs, stood right in front of me, his face right up against mine, snarling about how he wasn't going to let me past. Now, whilst I was quite willing to spend all night not budging, I was one of the speakers, so I had to acquiesce and I allowed him to search me. During the search, the buckle on my boot set the scanning device off. So bearing in mind, I just had a conversation with him about manhandling people. What does he do? He grabs the bottom of my trousers and he yanks them up my leg without asking. So that was the final straw. And that is what caused us to come to one of the meetings to get it on public record what was happening. Now, this all happened over the course of about 3 or 4 months. So the council had every opportunity to deal with this quietly and internally. And if you had, then we wouldn't have had to have come to the meeting, we wouldn't have had to have done the video. We can hardly do a video reporting the trials of what it is like just to even get in the door of the council without filming it. So yes, the council's door staff were filmed. So what you may not also be aware of is when we collectively put our mind to it, we can get our videos to go, a little bit viral. That first video had over 200,000 views. But now we have quite a following of alternative media outlets, and then when they get hold of them, they really go viral. One video clip had 6 million views in a weekend, and who knows how many millions of views it got after that. But with all the stuff over security, we did the video, we made our point, and we just left it. As you'll see from the viewing figures, we did not put any effort into promoting it. That's not what we're here for, and that's not what we want to focus on. And a lot of discretion was used in the making of that video. I have a lot of footage of officers and door staff making an absolute hash of dealing with the public that would definitely have gone viral, as people do seem to like to watch officials squirm. If you saw the footage that I've actually got compared to what I've actually used, I think you would have more of an appreciation for the editing than you currently do. So the video was the last resort, because what else do we do? We've spoken to all the people in the council who could possibly do anything about this situation, and you've chose to ignore it. We're not going to be disrespected in that way. So I want to be really clear to all of you, we are not out to get any of you. We are out to get change. And that is a very different intention and energy. If we were out to get you, these videos would be very, very different. And you'll miss me when I've gone, you know, because I'm not the only one that's going to be making these videos. I've got the reins at the moment, but various people now have iMovie and they're going to be making their own videos, and they are admins of this channel. So it's not just going to be me doing this. And I am far more sympathetic to the struggles that you all face than perhaps many of you realise. I've had experience running companies that have complex structures and lots of departments, so I know just how challenging it is. But at least for the companies I've run for others and myself, I didn't have to deal with bureaucracy and politics, so I can only but imagine how difficult it is. And having looked at your accounts, oh dear Lord, you've got some challenges, which I do not envy any of you dealing with. So I do appreciate that the very last thing you need is members of the public coming along and giving you grief, but it's necessary. Things have got so out of hand, and with everything that's coming down the pipe, it's only going to get worse if we don't all come together and sort this out. So I would invite you, Councillor Laws, and everyone in the council to take a look at our first 3 videos on this channel so you can see what we're about and what we're trying to achieve. So one thing we weren't sure about when you said the staff should be left out, whether you actually meant the officers or whether you were just referring to the door staff. So I'm going to cover that now, just in case that's what you meant. So is it fair to be including council officers when they're not the elected ones, you are? Well, we would say yes, precisely for that reason. Because you are elected, we can get a shot of you at the next ballot box. The council officers, however, no one has voted for, and they are the ones who guide, advise and steer the councillors in every decision that is made. They are the backbone of the council and play an enormous part in how everything runs. So yes, them being held to account is long overdue. And as for people doing a shift, again, we disagree, and you may not have meant the council officers, but for clarity, we view anybody in public service as it's a special place to be. It's a vocation. It shouldn't just be a shift, because the way everything runs and the decisions that are made affect hundreds of thousands of people. Every single one of you, from the person who opens the door right up to the leader of the council and the chief exec, are accountable to the public. With regards to perceived antagonism, we actually don't view it like that. We view it as in setting ground rules. So to be crystal clear for everyone, as Councillor Goss would say, we're going to spell out what those ground rules are, because we don't want the purpose of these videos to be misconstrued. Ground rule number 1, and I'm pleased to say the vast majority of the council that have dealings directly with the public know and abide by this one already. So this is just for the tiny few that haven't got it yet. Rule number 1, do not disrespect the public in any way, shape or form. Just don't. If you do, there will be a video made about it. Talking of which, we have a situation brewing right now that someone within the council really should take care of. We've been waiting since August for a reply on our emails to the climate emergency officers. Despite numerous emails and promises of an email forthcoming, none have been. And we even mentioned this fact at the Environment and Sustainability panel. And yes, we did make a video about that. And yes, you might have noticed some sarcasm from me, which, yes, is the lowest form of wit, but frankly, they didn't deserve a higher form. So let me give you some context as to why. So ever since we've started coming along to express our concerns at meetings about environmental issues, Both the climate emergency officer and his manager have sat there, rolling their eyes and smirking while members of the public are speaking. And as Councillor King remarked the other day, it's not easy for members of the public to come along and have your say. None of us enjoy the experience. We would really rather not be there, but these issues are so important, we have to be. So to have council officers behaving in this way is wholly unacceptable. In fact, Councillor Laws, I believe one of your colleagues was also upset by this blatant disrespect for the public and put in a formal complaint. But still, it continues, and they sit there oozing contempt for the public. And in their email responses, Spartan as they are, they also reflect this. The council are fully aware of this lack of response, and whilst I have nothing but praise for Matthew, the Democratic Services Officer, he's doing everything he can to handle this situation, but he cannot get them to respond. And the poor man is having to deal with me on a near weekly basis about this lack of response. My near saintly levels of patience have now run out. Once again, we've informed the council of a problem, and once again, nothing is being done. So I feel another video brewing. I think it's going to start with a nice little montage of the public nervously delivering their speeches with the facial expressions of these officers rolling their eyes and smirking at us. Helpfully, they do like to sit right opposite the cameras, so we have a lot of footage, as well as all of the footage we've filmed when they thought they weren't on camera. Then I will go through their email responses line by line. I expect there'll be a lot more sarcasm forthcoming. And we will do everything in our power to get that video to go viral. So my recommendation is that someone in the council gets us some responses, and soon. Might I also recommend that someone with people skills goes through their email before it is sent and makes it slightly less condescending. Then I won't have to do that video. And whilst I have no doubt the ignore them and they will go away strategy probably works with the vast majority of people and has done so for decades, we, as I hope you're beginning to realise, are not most people. And it just makes us even more determined. Okay, ground rule number 2. Most of the council do need to get this. We have sat through umpteen meetings where both officers and councillors have said the phrase they want to elicit behavioural change within the public. I strongly recommend that none of you ever use that phrase again, and don't even think it. If any of you do use it again, or even hint at it, you will be heavily featured in a video. You are not here to manipulate and control the public. You are here to serve us. We want you to sort out the bins, housing, keep the place tidy, that sort of thing. Psychological manipulation is not what we pay you for. It really winds people up, so don't do it. But if you must create behavioural change, do it within yourselves, because that is where it is needed. Rule number 3, and you really haven't got the hang of this one, and boy do you need to. Stop wasting public money. Just stop it. Anyone that does suggest things that waste taxpayer money, guess what? Yes, you'll be in a video. Rule number 4, put the public first. Not political, corporate or any other organisation or any pet points of view. Put us first with unbiased, evidence-based decision making. If you don't, you'll be in a video. Rule number 5. Don't get political on us. Stop bickering like small children and just get on with it. No one cares about your politics. We just want good services and infrastructure. End of. And if you do start bickering like small children, there will be a video on it. And with a little bit of added narration, you will make yourselves look very silly. So are we all getting how this works now? I do hope so, because I really don't like making those kinds of videos. I would much rather showcase the good things that this council does and the good people that we have here. And we do have many. We very much look forward to the day where we can make videos that are residents and Colchester Council. Although dropping the residents versus Colchester Council will no doubt trash our viewing figures. But who cares? That's not what this is about. But actually, all those rules could just be encapsulated in one big golden rule. Just serve the public interest. That is what you're here to do, after all. And those of you that genuinely look out for the public interest, you absolutely shine. It's so obvious which ones of you are really looking out for your constituents, and we want to showcase that. And talking of showcasing good things, we've got some potentially good news coming up, courtesy of the leader of the council, which I will share with you in the next video. So thank you, Councillor Laws, for expressing your concerns about the videos and the content. I hope this video has gone somewhere at least to alleviating any concerns people have over, what's going to happen to them. So those of you who are genuinely putting the public interest first, you have absolutely nothing to worry about with these videos. And those of you that don't, well, you're going to experience firsthand what it's like to be on the receiving end of behavioural change techniques. So do please like and share this video and subscribe if you'd like. And do leave us a comment, though please, we do have a policy of attack the point of view, not the person. So until next time, take care. Bye-bye.